Oh, musician.
St. Mary's of the Sea.
St. Mary's of the Sea.
When do you play trumpet there?
Well, it started when I was 16 because I dated the daughter of the organ player. So she asked me and my other high school buddies to come in for Easter and special, Christmas shows or performances and things like that.
Okay.
And then she moved to Bayhead. And I went over there and started playing when she moved to the Bayhead church. Episcopalian. They're all Episcopalian because they do the incense, right?
Right.
And I remember taking a big breath
Started when I was
and getting a
16.
lung full of incense.
Oh,
Because I dated so I had to time my breathing according to when the guy was coming by with the incense.
they did it in Trinity Church in Manhattan.
Oh, I had it every Sunday
Oh.
in Rome.
So we're
I
good.
can still
Yeah.
smell the incense.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we've got 6 here, and I think there are probably a few more coming.
I hope so.
So-
And there's, we've got at least one more.
That's
on the-
fine. We will talk to whoever, however many, however few. My name is Jake Whalen. This is Luke Whalen. You may see some resemblance there. I resemble him a little bit. So Luke and I are independent Medicare brokers. So we don't work for Medicare or CMS. We are licensed and authorized by CMS, the state of New Jersey, and all of the different carriers, et cetera. But we call this today, Medicare calls this an educational event. Okay, so we're not even allowed to have particular insurance company information up here.
Not
I'm
even
not-
your cards?
Oh, I can give you cards. If you want to meet afterwards, I can give you a summary of benefit for Clover or Braven or United Healthcare or Aetna, et cetera. But because it's advertised as an educational event, we're really not supposed to say, okay, this is what Aetna's plan looks like and this is what Blue Cross's plan looks like. So it's really, it's more about education about Medicare, how it works. I know I heard on the way in, someone talking about they have a Medicare supplement. Someone else says, I have an Advantage plan. This one won't work in New York, et cetera. So we're going to go over all that. We're going to cover all that. If you have any specific questions about your plan, by all means, you can ask it. You are not prohibited or prevented from doing anything like that. And I'm going to answer it as best I can. So Luke and I have an office in Manasquan, but we have clients all over the country. I have clients in Ohio and Arizona and the Carolinas, Florida, of course, Maine, Virginia, all over the place. And we're up on all of the latest Medicare rules, regulations, compliance, all of that stuff. And you can trust the information that you get from us. You know who you can't trust it from?
Medicare?
Joe Namath.
Your name is-
Do not call the TV commercial.
Do you know how much advertisement the
Oh, God, yes.
So
for Advantage plans?
So, if people would
That's so
stop
funny.
and just think logically, 0 premium, 0 copay, 0 deductible,
Too good to be true.
too good to be true, right?
Right, of course.
When you pause the commercial and read the fine print,
But you can't.
if you are on Medicaid, then you can get a plan with 0 premium, 0 copay, 0 deductible. That is true,
Oh.
but it's just misleading because most people looking at that commercial
I'm
aren't on Medicaid.
Right, correct.
Now, in the state of New York, 1 in 4 people are on Medicaid. So it does apply to 1 in 4 people in the state of New York. But you can get a plan that is
That's
0.
false advertisement.
It's misleading at the very
Misleading. It's
least.
not really.
Okay, I do have clients in a plan where they pay no premium, no copay, and no deductible because they have a blue and white card from the state of New Jersey that gives them a Medicaid benefit. So it is legitimate, it is true, but it is definitely misleading. Now, there are also some plans where his commercials say, see if your zip code qualifies
Right.
for money back, $150 a month in your Social Security towards your Medicare premium, et cetera. That is true too. That benefit comes from the plans, from the carriers. So the carriers are bribing you and they want you to enroll in their plan and they're going to give you up to, now in Florida, for 2023, we have a plan down there that gives you $160 a month back into your Social Security. So it is real, it is true. And I'm going to talk about how that's possible because that seems too good to be true too.
Right.
But that is actually real and all. All right, so let's just make sure we never call Joe Namath, right?
No, God,
No,
no.
Or
because
Jimmy
you're-
Walker, JJ Walker.
or JJ Walker
Right.
or William Shatner. Now,
Right,
so
and the list goes on.
they have a copy of the article?
Yeah.
Okay, so somewhere right there, this was an article that came out in the Wall Township Living magazine this month in October. And I wrote that article. I referenced Joe Namath in the article. And I want you guys to read that. You don't necessarily need to read it now. In fact, if you read it now, you're going to miss what I have to say up here.
Okay.
So just look at that a little bit later. So let's talk about this red, white, and blue card. Looks like some of you are old enough to be on Medicare here, right? A couple of you? Okay, so we call this original Medicare or traditional Medicare. You'll see and hear both of those phrases in Medicare publications. You'll see it in advertisements, traditional Medicare or original Medicare. So there's two parts here. And you guys may even remember the old Medicare card, right? It had your social security number on it.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So this is the new one with that new number.
Right.
Supposedly, if you walked out of your doctor's office with this card and dropped it on the ground and someone picked it up and then tried to compromise your security or identity, they wouldn't be able to get to it
Right.
because this number is supposed to be much more secure than your social.
Mhm.
So obviously, there's two parts here, A for hospital and B for outpatient or B for doctor coverage. Now, there's a bunch of out-of-pocket costs with that would be your responsibility, right? If you didn't have any other coverage. Does anybody know how much the hospital deductible is on your Medicare card?
3,000 when I was working.
Thousand
I worked in a hospital.
17.
In January, it's going to be 1,600.
1,600, well, that's not bad.
And that's for a benefit period of up to 60 days. So if you keep going back into the hospital after a 60-day period, you're going to pay another 1,600 all over again. You can pay that more than once.
Right. Oh, boy.
So that can get expensive. And if you're still in the hospital after the 60-day period, you've got a daily copay of $400. So if you're in the hospital for that 30-day period, that's $12,000 you're going to pay. And it doubles to $800 a day if you're still there after 90 days. It doubles to $800 per day.
Whoa.
Okay, so these are what we call gaps in Medicare. There's no limit to what they can add up to. So you have to have something else besides Medicare. And you know what it costs to go to the doctor, right?
Mhm.
20%. There's no limit to all this stuff. So you've got to have some other coverage or you're going to be in the poorhouse. Okay, so the first thing that Medicare came up with to help with all of those gaps is called Medigap. So someone here has a Medigap policy, Mutual of Omaha, I think I heard somebody say.
I have a secondary that pays for 20. I pay $257 a month for that.
And it's an individual supplemental plan.
Yeah,
So it's a
That's
Plan
what I'm-
F supplement or maybe a Plan J supplement.
or G.
Probably not G at that premium.
No.
Do
I
you
have-
pay,
mine is G and I don't pay half that.
Do you ever get the Part B deductible? Do you have to pay that?
No, I don't think.
No, so you have F. Yeah, so
That's a lot of money.
do they have the chart on their paperwork there?
No, none of this one, but
Okay, so this chart here, this is a Medicare publication. Okay, remember, I'm not allowed to have any insurance company info here today. This is a Medicare publication. It says CMS on the back. Anybody know what CMS stands for? Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. So this is the actual Division of Health and Human Services that administers your Medicare benefits. So they published this little book and it's got the different plans that will help with those gaps.
I don't know what that is, but it says
Plan G.
So it's Plan G? What state were you in when
Texas.
you bought this?
New Jersey. That's forethought, and I
When?
forget.
How long ago?
20 years ago.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that premium is
Plan
way
G
out of
20
line.
years ago.
Okay, so these are the plans.
Yeah. way
Yeah.
too much.
They're not even here anymore.
I pay roughly
Never seen
half
it.
that.
Yeah, that premium's way out of line.
Myself.
Okay, so these are the plans that Medicare put together. They go from A to N. And they will pick up those out-of-pocket costs. So if you have the Plan F, F says 100%, 100%, all the way down. You never get a bill when you have Plan F. Plan G is right next to it. The only bill that you would ever pay is the Part B deductible. That is $250 $33 a year right now. It's an annual deductible, so you only pay that once. Next year, it's dropping a little bit to $226. It's actually going down. And you know what? Your
That's-
Medicare premium is going down too. And your Social Security check is going way up. What's the percentage?
8%.
8.6%. So you're getting more in there. So Medicare is going to take out less. That Part B premium is going to be less. So these are all good changes for next year. But this Plan G is the most comprehensive plan that you can buy anymore. All right. So some of our clients choose Plan G, but most of them are choosing Plan N. Plan N, as you can see, is 100%, 100%, 100%, 100. Here, we can pass that around if you'd like to see it. So everything is paid on Plan N, except the Part B deductible and a few $20 copays here, $20 copay there. If you don't see many doctors, maybe 4, 5, 6 doctors a year, Plan N is where you want to be because your net savings is going to be the lowest. Your premium is how much? 250?
I think they rate, it's 257 now. from
And you're
two-
how old?
I'm 80.
80. Yeah, that you should be paying less than 175, maybe 145 or so for an 80-year-old. We can check on that later. Okay, so your supplement comes in after Medicare to pick up all these costs, right? Everybody understands what a Medicare supplement is and how it works. The doctor gets the first check and it comes from Medicare, 80%. And then the supplement comes in after to send the doctor the 20%. So let's put it down here how that works. Your Medicare card is here. And you're paying $170 a month for Part B. And then we're going to put your drug plan over here. This is your standalone drug plan, because remember, your Medicare card doesn't have drugs on it. It has just A for hospitals and B for doctors. So this is your standalone drug plan. These monthly premiums, the national average is about $34 a month. Hopefully, if anybody here is on a standalone drug plan, you're either on SilverScript, because
Yes.
it's only $7 a month, or you're on WellCare, it's $12.90 a month. And by the way, both of those premiums are dropping next year. WellCare is going to be $9.30 a month, and SilverScript's going to be $6.80 or something like
Yeah,
that.
but I get it through pharmaceutical assistance of the.
So New Jersey PAD pays that premium for you. Okay, good. We're going to talk about PAD in a little bit. That's over here.
We get.
Okay, so this is your doctor, your hospital, your lab, your surgery center, anywhere that you would show that card, your Medicare card. Medicare is going to send that doctor the 80% that they allow. Now, if you don't have another card up here, the doctor is going to say, okay, Roberta, here's your bill for the 20%. So you either write out a check for the 20%, or you say, well, wait a minute, I do have another card here, doc. I've got a supplement. And whether it's that Plan F, or it's that Plan G, or it's that Plan N, if you notice on that chart, the 20% that the doctor would charge you is covered under that supplement 100%. Now, if you have Plan G, that's it. You're not paying a dime for that. If you have Plan N, you may have a $20 copay, but 20% is paid for you. So a big expensive outpatient surgery could be thousands. That's paid for 100%. MRIs, CAT scans, all those big diagnostics, your supplement is paying that 20% in full. Okay.
Not all the time. I used
Well,
to get
if
from,
Medicare pays the front end, the supplement has to pay the back end.
I used to get from United Healthcare, not covered, not covered, not covered. I hated
Yeah,
it.
and that does happen, but it's not that it's not covered by United Healthcare, because they have no discretion over what they cover. Okay, they have to pay the benefit according to that chart. So if Medicare paid the front end,
They have to.
they have to pay the back end. But sometimes Medicare doesn't pay the front, and therefore your supplement isn't going to pay the back end. Okay, so in this first scenario here, this is just the first option for dealing with all of those big scary gaps, right? This is the first option. We're going to talk about the Joe Namath option in a minute. Okay, so under this first option, you've got these 3 cards in your wallet. Medicare is paying the doctor the 80%. The doctor then sends the bill to the supplement for the other 20%. The supplement checks with Medicare to make sure that Medicare paid first. Medicare confirms to the supplement that they paid. Supplement then pays the doctor the 20%. So the doctor is very happy because he or she is getting 100%, 80% from Medicare and 20% from the patient or the patient's supplement if you bought one. And the patient is very happy because the patient gets to go to any doctor, any hospital, anywhere in the country that accepts Medicare. Okay, so Why would you not have a supplement then? Well, cost. Not everyone can afford the
Right.
monthly premium. Your premium is $250 a month. I had a woman in
57.
Manasquan, I'm sorry,
257.
257. I had a woman in Manasquan 5 years ago or so. She was paying about the same amount, and instead of paying just $7 for her drug plan over here, AARP was charging her $85 a month just for the drug plan. That's about $1,000. So between the 250 for the supplement, the other 85 for the drug plan, she couldn't afford it. So she terminated her supplement and got breast cancer a month later.
Oh, God.
So she couldn't afford that 250. So cost is one big reason why you may not have a supplement. The other reason you may not have a supplement is eligibility. May not be eligible for the supplement. Now, when you turn 65, they can't decline you. No medical questions are asked on the application. You can never be declined when you turn 65 or when you lose your group coverage. So let's say you're retiring at 70 or whatever age. It could be 90. It doesn't matter. You cannot be declined for your supplement. Any other time you want to get that supplement, they're going to ask the medical questions on the application. Have you had a heart attack, stroke, cancer, stents, bypasses? Are you insulin dependent? What drugs do you take? What's your height and weight? You answer yes to any of that, you could be declined. If you're declined, remember, you're exposed to all of those big scary gaps, the $1,600 hospital deductible, the $400 per day copays afterwards, the 20% every doctor visit. So Medicare says, all right, if you can't afford the supplement or if you're not eligible for the supplement, there's got to be something else. There's got to be another option. And that's when they called Joe Namath and got some ideas from him. All right, so we call this a Medicare Advantage plan. Medicare Advantage, it includes drug coverage built right into the plan. So we call these an MAPD, Medicare Advantage Prescription Drug Plan. Now I draw it like a rectangle to show you that it's one card, one plan that replaces all three of these cards above it. So when you have chosen the second option, you're not going to have a separate drug card because this plan takes the place of that. You don't need a supplement anymore, and you're not going to show your Medicare card, although you're still in Medicare. You're still paying the $170 a month to have Medicare. In fact, we're going to put that $170 down here because whether you're up here with a supplement or if you're down here with this Advantage plan, you're paying the $170. Okay, unless you're on New Jersey Medicaid and they're paying it for you. Otherwise, you're paying that $170. So that's a constant, right? Regardless of which option you're in, you're paying the $170 a month. But the plan itself isn't going to charge you any more premium. Unlike this supplement where you're paying $257 a month. Of course, we would never let our clients pay that much, but there are a lot of people out there paying $257 a month for their supplement. No, this plan is zero in most counties. And here in New Jersey, we don't put anybody in a plan that has a premium anymore. It's just not necessary. It used to be, though, there were plans that charged you a monthly premium. And in some counties, in fact, last year in New Jersey, Cape May County, I believe last year was the first year that they had a zero premium plan. It used to be Aetna was the only plan down there. It was $79 a month. Now we have zero premium plans. Okay, so what is it about this plan that is different from a Medicare supplement? So remember, the supplement pays after Medicare pays.
Right.
The supplement pays instead of Medicare, not after. And doctors' offices don't even understand this, okay? Doctors' offices will often say to a client of mine that walks in with a Medicare Advantage plan, okay, is this your secondary? And my clients sometimes know the answer to that. Sometimes they don't know the answer to that. If they've paid attention, they know it is not a secondary because the word secondary denotes there's a primary. There is no primary secondary relationship down there. Up here, you see two cards, right? This one is primary, this one is secondary. Down here, you only see one card. So there can't be a primary versus secondary when there's only one pair. And that one pair is the plan. Now, the plan is getting paid from Medicare every month. That's how this works. So when you're in this first option, you're paying this $170 a month to Medicare. Medicare is using that $170 to pay the 80% to the doctors. Okay, but can Medicare really afford to pay for an expensive surgery or hospital stays, diagnostics, if all they are getting every month is 170? No, they need more money, right? They get more money from taxpayers. Taxpayers are contributing approximately $830 a month on top of the 170 that they're getting from you, because it takes about $1,000 every month to pay the 80% that they're paying for you. So it's this $1,000 that Medicare is using to pay the 80. So when you take what's behind door number 2 here and you enroll in an Advantage plan, Medicare takes this $1,000 and they send it over here to the carrier that you just enrolled with. So the carrier now has $1,000 every month to pay all of your Medicare benefits.
Okay, just a quick question. You said from the taxpayers,
This comes from the taxpayers. This comes from,
all people, all taxpayers? They're taxed on their payroll check?
so yes, so everybody that is working and gets money taken out of their check, it
For
says
Social Security?
FICA, federal, state, Medicare. So yes, people in,
Oh, okay.
Is that what explains why the Republicans want to get rid of Social Security and Medicare? No.
Well, that's not-
well, no, they don't want to do that. But that's a different conversation.
Okay.
So this
Because I
$1,000.
remember Social Security coming out of my check, but I don't remember seeing anything from Medicare.
Yeah, so your payroll deductions,
Yes,
federal, state, Social Security, unemployment, disability, Medicare.
I've never noticed.
It's all
that.
in there, and Medicare
Okay.
is usually the smallest amount,
Okay,
maybe about the same as disability.
okay.
So not only are all of the workers paying through their payroll deductions,
So,
but it's a general fund now. So people that are just paying regular income taxes, federal income tax, whether you're in the 20% bracket or 30% bracket, part of that money is going to pay for Medicare as
Okay.
well. Okay?
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Thank you.
Understand that $1,000 to pay for the one size, that one plan.
Mhm.
And it comes out of taxpayers, $1,000 a month.
Most of it, 170 of it comes from the actual Medicare
Right.
beneficiary.
So we're all retired, so we're not working, getting a paycheck. We get the Medicare, Social Security. So with that being said, is we're just going to pay for that one plan, not a primary, not a secondary, just that one plan, $170. And that other $1,000 comes out of taxpayers that are still working. Out of their paycheck. Is that how it works?
That's all accurate, yeah.
Ooh, okay.
But if you, as the Medicare beneficiary, are still working, or you own a business and you're still running the business, you're paying taxes. And you're either paying a payroll tax through your business, or you're paying an income tax through the business. And so you are contributing to Medicare for everybody, in addition to paying your own Medicare premium. But yeah, the taxpayers are subsidizing these plans.
Okay.
Up here, Medicare is paying the
we were
provider
and we
directly.
were subsidizing everybody else's when we were working.
Exactly.
It's not like
Right.
something that we're getting something we're not in.
Yeah, okay, so down here, the plan is getting this $1,000 every month.
Okay.
And that's why they all want to get you on board with their company. And that's why they're paying Joe Namath a lot of money to try to get you to come on board, because each plan gets $1,000. And now the plan is responsible to provide all of your Medicare Part A benefits that you would get from your red, white, and blue card, all of your outpatient doctor benefits, et cetera, all of your drug benefits. And those are all mandatory, right? Every plan, no matter where you live, what state, what county, must provide all of your Medicare benefits. You never have to worry about losing any benefit that would come from your Medicare card when you enroll in an Advantage plan. They have to provide those, but they have discretion to provide a bunch of ancillary benefits that you don't get from Medicare. So a dental benefit, vision, hearing aid, you don't get any of that from Medicare, right? But these Advantage plans will often provide dental, vision, and hearing. An over-the-counter card that comes loaded with a certain amount of money,
$75.
and it's going up next year. Now, some of the plans offer that OTC card, some don't, and it's on a quarterly basis. Aetna has a plan. Remember the 000? That's for Medicaid recipients. Medicare has a plan for those Medicaid recipients. So if you know anybody on Medicare and Medicaid, they can get $360 a quarter. So that's $120 a month to buy all that stuff with. So that's a nice benefit. This is all discretionary to the plan, right? They want to entice you to come enroll in their plan. So they offer all these other benefits. Some of them have that Part B give back, where they actually credit your Social Security account a certain amount of money every month. Like I said, in Florida, the highest that we have down there is 160. Here in New Jersey, I think the highest one we have now is 75. So they are crediting your Social Security that much money every month. Now, here in New Jersey, unlike Florida, this plan that's giving you 160, they don't have higher costs. So for example, our New Jersey plan that gives you this much back every month, they've eliminated the dental benefit.
Oh.
And that's $1,000 in comprehensive dental that they've taken away. So they're giving you 75 in one hand, but they're taking away 1,000 with the other. So it's usually not a good deal here in New Jersey to take those plans. If you have a friend in Florida though, the 160 they give you, they're not taking benefits away to help for them to pay that 160. You still get the dental, you still get the lower copays, et cetera. So keep that in mind. Again, these are all state by state, even county by county. So in fact, we had a call come in while we were driving here today. One of my clients said, hey, Jake, my wife's talking to her friends. She wants to know why we're not getting $100 a month back or $120 a month back in our Social Security. So I called them on the way and I said, well, because we don't have any plans in New Jersey that offer that much. And unless you guys are eligible for Medicaid, they're not going to pick up the $170 a month Part B premium like people on Medicaid can get that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions on what makes the Advantage plan different from the supplement? Remember the supplement, there's two payers, Medicare, then the supplement.
Right.
Down here, there's one payer and it's all coming from the plan. Go ahead.
But if you go Medicare, it's not that. Is it limited to New Jersey use? You can't go out of state with it.
Limited to New Jersey use. All right, so the question was, can you go out of state when you have a Medicare Advantage plan like this? So these plans come in several flavors, actually 4 or 5 flavors. And here in New Jersey, we really only have 2.
The PPO.
We have HMOs and we have PPOs. Now, if your plan is an HMO, then you must use providers that have agreed to accept that card. And these doctors, here's your doctor here. Your doctor is going to sign a contract with the plan if the doctor agrees to the fee schedule. Because remember, the plan is getting $1,000 a month from Medicare, so they want to pay out less than $1,000 a month for all of your healthcare needs. One way they pay out less is they say to the doctors, come into our network, accept our cards when your patient comes in with it. We're going to pay you less, doc, but you're going to get more patients because they have to choose somebody from our book and they're going to possibly find your name in there. So the doctor agrees to get paid a little bit less in exchange for more patients. So the doctor is in network and that's how the HMOs work. He's going to get paid less. We don't enroll anybody in an HMO anymore because we now have PPOs available. With a PPO, you can go to any doctor anywhere in the country that accepts Medicare. So if you want to go see a doctor in New York City or Philadelphia or any place else, as long as that doctor accepts Medicare, and as long as that doctor is willing to build the plan, and most of them are willing to build the plan now, because it used to be we only had 3 carriers. We had Aetna, we had Horizon, and we had United Healthcare, and they weren't even in every county. So we had 3 carriers in the state of New Jersey. And the doctors, it was not unreasonable for the doctors to contract with at the very least one of them, and sometimes 2 or 3. Well, now we've got those carriers plus WellCare, plus Cigna, plus Humana, plus AmeriAdvantage, Braven, Clover, and 1 or 2 others. So there's so many companies now, and I think there's a total of 44 different plans. So the doctors are no longer hiring lawyers to review 44 plans to make sure they're going to get paid enough, to make sure that the insurance company can't screw them out of a payment. So the doctors say, look, If your plan is an HMO, we're not gonna be able to take it. But if you come in here with a PPO, we are happy to bill your carrier. And that's how it works for most people. Now, most PPOs charge you for the privilege of being able to go out of network if you ever need to. But now here in New Jersey, we have 0 premium PPOs. So you don't have to settle for an HMO anymore. We can get you into a PPO with no monthly premium. And it used to be that they charge, well, now they're getting back to that. Most of them will charge you a higher copay if you go out of network. But we've got plans here in New Jersey now. Your primary care physician is 0 copay. That's in network or out of network. That's an I and an O. So in network is 0, out of network is 0. And then we've got plans where the specialist is $20 in network and then a little bit higher out of network. Okay, it's an incentive to stay with doctors that have signed that contract and have agreed to get a lower fee. It's your incentive to use those doctors because your copays are going to be lower if you do, but you're not limited to them. So you can go out of network. And remember, in an emergency,
Yeah, that's the problem.
every hospital is considered in network in an emergency.
Right, in the whole
Oh.
United
So if you're in
Mhm.
the whole country, Puerto Rico, Samoa, wherever our territories are. So let's say you're in New York and you're seeing a Broadway show or whatever, or you're on a trip to Atlantic City, you're out of your you're out of your home area, you're going into a hospital. Medicare doesn't want you to be concerned about the hospital you're being wheeled into. You're on a stretcher looking around, making sure you're in network. No, Medicare makes sure it's all in network, no matter where you're at. Okay. And then if there is a nearby hospital that is in network, they will move you to it. Once you're stabilized, they'll move you to an in-network hospital. But keep in mind, these main carriers now, like Aetna, I don't know, main carriers? No, these carriers that have been around a long time that people know, all these carriers have providers almost in every state. So Braven is the new Horizon plan that came out 2 years ago. So let's just talk about somebody wants to ask me a question about Clover or Braven, then I can jump right into it. Anybody, just Roberta, say, hey,
Tell
ask
me
me about.
about
I use Clover
Okay, oh, so you have
and I'm
Clover.
very happy.
Okay, so the way that works is, Clover was the first 0 premium PPO to come out in New Jersey 8 or 9 years ago now. And Aetna ignored it. Blue Cross Blue Shield Horizon ignored it. United Healthcare, they all ignored Clover. They all thought Clover was out of their mind. I mean, who's ever heard of Clover? It wasn't even a real company. These are all insurance companies that go back 150 years.
Right.
And in fact, Aetna wrote the very first Medicare supplement claim. Aetna supplements. We learned that a couple of weeks ago. The very first Medicare supplement in existence in the whole country, that claim was paid by Aetna. So these companies go back a long time. They know the insurance arena and all of that. Well, along comes Clover and is a 0 premium PPO. And these other carriers are looking at Clover like, you know, you're crazy. Go back to Uber and Airbnb, because Clover was started by venture capitalists in California. The same venture capital money that changed the hospitality industry with Airbnb, changed the taxi industry with Uber. So it's that kind of venture capital money and technology that created Clover. All right,
When was
so
it created? What year?
this was in 2013, I think, 2012 or 2013. It started in Hudson County, so Jersey City area.
Mhm.
And then in the next year, it expanded to a few more counties. And then in 2016, it came to Monmouth County, 2018, I think, to Ocean
So it
County.
was created in New Jersey then?
It's a New Jersey company, right?
Right.
Okay, so all of these other carriers ignored Clover. And then in 2020, Blue Cross Blue Shield got together with Hackensack Meridian and Barnabas and said, okay, we're going to come up with our own PPO. And so they opened up the Clover book and said, let's model ours after Clover. The copays are almost exactly the same. But because it's affiliated with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Blue Cross Blue Shield's in 45 states.
Hmm.
There are 60,000 doctors that are available in 45 states. So if you have Braven and you're traveling to New York, there's a good chance that you're going to find an in-network doctor that accepts Braven in New York City or Philly or Chicago or wherever you're going. Aetna also 45 states, United Healthcare in many states as well. So Clover is only in 7 or 8 states. So if you're in one of those states where Clover is not available, and that's most of them, you're not going to find a doctor that's in network. Whereas if you have the Aetna plan or the Blue Cross Blue Shield Braven plan, there is a good chance you'll find a doctor that's in network. But again, if it's an emergency, it's a moot point. You don't need to make sure they're in network because it's going to be covered. Okay. All right. So we've gone over.
I just want to say one thing that's hopeful. So I go by referrals. I don't go by who's in network. I want to know someone's used the doctor and it's a good doctor. So I'll pay my $20 for the copay for the specialist, and then I'm going to get a bill from their office afterwards because they're not in network. But it's never that much.
Right. So that's balance billing.
Yeah,
So the doctor didn't sign the contract, right? If he's
Right.
out of network, the
right.
doctor's under no obligation to accept the payment that the carrier sends them. He never agreed to getting paid anything.
Right.
So the doctor can say to Roberta, okay, you know that $20 copay you paid? Well, that's not quite enough. We're going to need a little bit more.
And
So
it's
they may,
never that much.
so they may bill you for another $10 or $20.
Sometimes 20, sometimes 30.
Yeah, the most I've seen is 30 because with some of these other carriers, most of these other carriers, the specialist copay is 50. So they want to get at least 50. So if you're paying 20 because your card says 20 for the specialist, and then they're not happy with what the carrier gives them, they're going to balance bill you for another 30.
Right.
I've only heard that happening from one other client of mine where he gets balance billed another $30 on top of the 20.
Oh, yeah, it happens to me mostly all the time. I think only one of my doctors is in network.
Is that right?
Yeah, my primary. I think she's the only one in network.
Okay, any questions on how the Advantage plan works versus the supplement? Everybody understands the
Yes.
supplement comes in after, which is why you show your Medicare card and your
the
supplement,
card.
Right.
because the doctor gets a check from both.
Right, right,
Down here, the doctor gets one check. It's coming from this carrier, right?
right.
Okay. All right, so let's get rid of that. So next, we're going to talk about PAD. So pharmaceutical assistance for the aged and disabled. So someone here is on PAD. There may be a few on PAD. If you've got other people in the
AAD.
PAAD, pharmaceutical assistance for the.
Aged and disabled.
So I absolutely despise the name of that program.
Pardon me?
I despise the name of that program.
Yes, it should say something a little bit. nicer.
Aged and disabled.
Right.
Greg.
I'm going to be eligible for PAD in 2 years, and I don't consider myself aged or disabled.
I didn't hear,
Aged.
I didn't hear the beginning of that.
Well, PAD stands for pharmaceutical assistance for the aged and disabled. So
Oh,
aged, they got to change that.
yeah,
Um,
really.
It's
To
really,
old
it's
people.
really bothering me.
Yeah,
So the
not all old
eligibility,
people want to admit that they're old, Lois.
the eligibility for PAD for a single is 38,000. They raised it 10 grand this year.
Are they going to raise it again?
Probably not for a few years or many years, because it went up from 28,000 to 38,000
Wow.
and 45,000 for a couple, I think. Yeah, so
Just as an aside, I had another, I was reluctant to have another med checked on. It's called the Abilify. And I was afraid of having the side effect that kills you. But anyway, I was desperate that this would work with my antidepressant, which is cheap. So the psychiatrist, and I'm really leery. I go to the pharmacy. They wanted $63 more. Whatever, instead of a $10 copay or $5, I said, every month I have to give you $63 for a drug I don't even want to take.
That's a very new drug, I believe.
No, it's been out there.
check
for-
GoodRx. Check GoodRx. So we're
It's
going
an
to talk.
antipsychotic.
So it might not go through. PAD.
So what drug plan do you have?
Had.
No,
But what, oh, well,
PAD is a,
Aetna, does that sound?
Aetna has several drug plans. One of them is Silver Script.
I have Silver Script.
Okay, so the way the PAD works, PAD is pharmaceutical assistance from the state. It's called an SPAP, State Pharmaceutical Assistance Program or Plan. So an SPAP, not every state has one. Pennsylvania's got one, New York, Jersey, they all have one. Florida doesn't. If your state has an SPAP and you qualify for it, they are going to help with the cost of your medications. The med must first be on your Part D, your Medicare drug plan's formulary. So if your SilverScript plan doesn't include that drug in
right.
its list of covered drugs,
You're not-
PAD's not going to help you with the cost.
Right,
So
Gotcha.
there's a chance that it's not on the SilverScript formulary.
right.
So that's what you got to look at. And that's why Medicare lets you change this time of year, because maybe you need to change to a different plan that does cover the Abilify. Is it on GoodRx?
Looking.
All right, so who here has used GoodRx, the free phone app for medications?
Eric?
Anybody with a smartphone?
Yes,
All right, so you're gonna,
Semi-smart.
it's always advisable to look at GoodRx. For example, anybody use ezetimibe,
$12 a shot, right?
Abilify? $12.
I went to Walmart.
Says it's $5.
$5 at Walmart. So if you have a smartphone,
Yeah,
okay, so you're gonna want to download the GoodRx app.
okay,
If you want to give us your phone, we'll download it for you. It's a free app.
right.
You type in the name of your drug. And you have to create a profile first, so it knows the
Yeah.
zip code.
Or you can print out a coupon if you have a computer at home or, the library or anything, and show it to them. 99% discount at Walmart,
So $5.
$600.
wow,
Wow. Wow,
So
I
that's-
couldn't return it,
no, no.
but
you
I
can't.
keep it there. Every time I think I need it maybe and weigh if I dropped it, I dropped it. I'm not to the point, but I look at that. If I'm tempted and I say $65, no way. For a pill that may kill me, I don't think so.
No. Definitely not.
Okay, so all drug plans
What
have
changed?
5 or 6 tiers. So your cheapest drugs are the tier 1 preferred generics. Then you have your generics,
Right.
preferred brand, regular brand, specialty. Some plans now have a tier 6. These are also very inexpensive, usually $0 or just a couple of dollars. So where does your deductible come in? Let's get rid of this one.
See, I didn't even look.
So you
I
have a
didn't-
$505 deductible on that SilverScript plan, but when you have PAD, they waive the deductible. You never have to pay the deductible when you have PAD. Everybody else that's on that plan has to pay a $505 deductible first. And on most plans, that deductible applies to tier 3, 4, and 5. So as long as you stay with tier 1 preferred generics or tier 2 generics, you don't have to worry about this $505 deductible. But here's the problem with SilverScript. SilverScript adds that deductible to tier 2. So if you're on a tier 2 medication, you don't want to be on SilverScript because that tier 2 med is going to trigger the 505. WellCare or one of the other plans, the deductible doesn't come in at tier 2. Tier 2 are exempt from the deductible. So it's very important. In fact, we're probably not going to be putting a whole lot of people into SilverScript for this coming year because of that tier 2 being added to the deductible. And if that 505 gets triggered, you get down to the pharmacy and they want a lot of money from you. So one way you avoid that deductible is to download that free phone app, GoodRx. Now, here's a perfect example. So ezetimibe is a drug that a lot of people are on. I think it's a cardiovascular, maybe a statin, for your cholesterol.
Right. Mhm.
Most plans treat ezetimibe, even though it's a generic, as a tier 3. Well, a tier 3 is a preferred brand. Well, it's a generic drug, but they're pricing it like a preferred brand. And what does that tier 3 do? It triggers your deductible. And you have to pay on average about $45 a month. You know how much ezetimibe is at GoodRx? It's like $7 to $10. No deductible and much less than this. So for that particular drug, you don't want to use your Medicare drug plan. You want to use the free phone app called GoodRx, save you from triggering that deductible. Don't have to pay $45 a month. You can pay less than 10.
All right, I have a question. So I take Eliquis, and at a certain point, like after 7 months or 8 months, I go into the donut hole.
Yes.
Instead of paying 38, I'm paying 123. How do I avoid that?
Just
Yeah.
talk around, it's just the way-
Yeah, so Eliquis, like all brand name drugs, you're being penalized for using a brand name drug.
Right,
You're being incentivized to avoid the brand name drugs. But if you're going to use the brand name drug, you're going to end up paying more for it. So
Right.
every drug plan, and think back to my diagram a minute ago, and you have that diagram there, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in your paperwork?
Yeah.
So that diagram in your paperwork, you can take that home. That's going to be a reminder of my drawing up here, where we had the standalone drug plan and then the Advantage plan.
Right.
Regardless of whether you were up here, and we'll put the three. So this was your drug coverage here. That's supposed to be a square. And this was your Advantage plan with the drug coverage. So whether you're up here with a standalone drug plan or you're getting your drug coverage from your Advantage plan, it's Part D, right? They're both Part D. They work the same way. They all have 4 phases of coverage. Your deductible phase, your initial coverage phase, your coverage gap,
Mhm.
most people call it the donut hole,
Mhm.
and then your catastrophic phase. So you pay that $505 deductible if it applies to your drugs, right? If you stay with the tier 1 and tier 2, you don't have to worry about it. But once you've met that deductible, you advance to the initial coverage phase. You may pay $0 for your med, you may pay $10 for your med, and you pay that until about $4,400 has been spent. Now that $4,400 is you and your plan together. So if you're paying $10 copays, then your plan is obviously kicking in most of that number. When this number is hit, you advance into the next phase of coverage, the coverage gap. When you're here, you have to pay 25% of the retail cost. And that's why your copay went up from whatever your initial coverage phase was. I think it's 37 with
I
Clover.
think it's about 38.
Okay, so let's say it's 38 with Clover in the initial coverage phase. Until you're paying that 38 until
Right.
this number has been spent.
Right, exactly.
Then you're over here where you have to pay 25% of the retail cost.
But I don't have a deductible.
Clover in Ocean County doesn't have a drug deductible. You're right. On the standalone drug plans, most of them have it. And most of the Advantage plans have a deductible too, but not in Ocean County. Clover specifically wanted seniors in Ocean County to not have a deductible. And so something else is a little bit higher. The specialist is 20, whereas it's 10 in Monmouth County. But Monmouth County has a $150 drug deductible, and they wanted the seniors in Ocean County to not have a drug deductible. So you're paying a little bit more for the specialist. So yeah, there's no deductible in Clover, Ocean County for Clover. So you're paying 25% of the retail cost for the
Right.
Eliquis
Right.
until about 7,000 has been spent. Now, the difference between this number and this number is coming out of your pocket. 25% of the cost. Chances are you're never going to hit that number. You're going to run out of year before you hit that 7,000.
Right.
And then in January, it's all going to reset again, and you'll be back to paying
Right.
this $38 from the first month.
Right.
But when you get to the catastrophic, you pay just $5.
What
for
is
gen-
catastrophic?
So catastrophic comes in after this amount of money has been spent. Because once you've spent that $2,600 approximately out of your pocket, because you're paying 25% for everything, you no longer have to worry about any of the costs because you're only paying $9 or 5%, whichever is greater. So you're paying very little once you get to the catastrophic end.
And
Question?
catastrophic,
Just a couple of questions. Just one.
We'll come back to that, Roberta.
oh, it's okay.
I don't take medication, but my husband does, and we have Humana, and we get, we do it by mail. We don't pay anything,
So the Humana's mail order.
yes.
Yeah. So you have a monthly premium for the plan, but the drugs through their mail order are zero copay.
Right. Anyway, my next question is, my husband was due for his shingles and whooping cough vaccine. So it wasn't covered Medicare supplement, it wasn't covered under our drug plan. How do you, and it was expensive.
You have to
Yes.
pay it.
Out of
Shingles
pocket.
is not, shingle
Is it-
shots are not included
Like,
in
it
any
wasn't
plans.
included in
They're
it?
included in Clover.
They are, oh.
So yeah, that's a Part D drug, and it's just going to fall into whether it's in your plan's formulary or not. It may not be in Humana's plan, so you're out of luck with that. But you may want to switch to a plan where They are
What plan
included.
covers vaccinations like that?
I'm sorry?
What plan covers vaccinations?
Well, many of them do. So we go into the Medicare.gov plan finder, back in the office, we put in the names of those meds. And the plan finder, the Medicare, and everybody, you can do this. You can go to Medicare.gov, put in the name of your med and your zip code, so it knows to look in New Jersey. The drug plans don't go county by county the way the Advantage plans do. So it's just going to show up all of the plans that are in New Jersey for the drugs. And you're going to see, and you're going to enter the drugs you're interested in searching.
Well, it's the shingles and. the-
Shingrix is the
Well,
brand name for that.
Well, that and the whooping cough or whatever. But by the same token, if I change plans and I have to check the other drugs my husband is
Right.
taking and what that's gonna cost.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna be viable. Right.
That's why Medicare has this annual enrollment period that we're in now, because that's exactly what they expect you to do every year between October 15 and December 7.
I have Clover, I'm not changing.
And
anything.
Clover is incentivizing you to get vaccines. So that 75 that's on your OTC card now, it drops next year, I think, to 45. But then they add it back in as you get vaccines, as you watch a couple of videos on living healthy, etc. If you take a phone call from one of the nurses, they add money to that card. And
Wait a minute. I'm not getting $75 every quarter?
they're dropping it to 45. But as soon as you watch those videos
I don't
and,
watch any videos.
well, they're gonna call you.
Yeah.
I would advise you to watch a couple of videos that they email you.
Clover.
It'll take you 20 minutes to
So why
watch the
would I
videos.
watch them? What are they about?
They
Doesn't
give you
matter,
mon-
just watch
it
them
doesn't
and they're
matter,
gonna put
they give you
$100
money.
on your card.
They called me. They wanted to send someone to my house, a nurse, and they were gonna give me $150.
Yes.
What the heck is that?
And they're gonna do that again next year. They're all
I
doing
said,
it now,
no, don't bother me.
but they're all putting strings on that money.
Uh,
But
Exactly.
here's the good thing. You can now use that card like a Visa, swipe it in a grocery store, at a gas station.
What, the Clover?
The Healthy Benefits card now has a Visa logo on it and you can use it anywhere for anything.
For $45, how long is that gonna
Well,
last?
no, they're adding more money to it when you do certain things.
Okay, how do I know when to do the certain things? Who's gonna tell me?
They're gonna notify you. They're either gonna email you, they're gonna call you, they're gonna send you letters. And they're gonna say, hey, we know we dropped the value to 45, but if you want to get it back up to where it was and then have even more beyond the 75 a quarter, here's what we need you to do.
Okay, so don't delete the emails and don't throw out the mail.
Right, make sure that you say those. Yeah, go ahead.
So Clover
It's like-
is a supplement.
Nope,
It's-
Clover is
oh,
this
it's
one.
a- Oh, it's an advantage.
right. Clover, a supplement is up here that pays
Oh, I'm
after
sorry.
Medicare. Clover is zero cost, so there's no monthly premium for Clover. But it does have copays for everything.
With all the doctors in it.
And not all the doctors are in it.
That's
But
the
because it's a
problem.
PPO,
Well,
it's not a problem. Roberta sees the doctors out of network.
When I used to
Yeah,
work,
not that much. Yeah, it's not that much.
when I used to work and I had medical insurance in the company, I don't know if it's relevant to what you were saying, you have to do things. We would do things and we would get more money in our little bucket. Maybe I would walk 10,000 steps a day. Or I would talk to a health coach 4 times a year. Couple other things, and then anytime I did one of those things, they put more money in my little bucket.
Yeah. And that's becoming more and more popular now. There was a big union out in California, somewhere out there, and the cost of their premiums to the union members was skyrocketing. And they found out that 90% of the union members were obese, diabetic, never exercised, and all of this stuff. So smoked.
Yes,
Someone had the great idea.
Drank.
Let's get these guys healthier. Let's give them the option to lower the premium on their plan if they lose weight, if they stop smoking, if they become more healthy. So in other words, if you incentivize someone, and that's what these Advantage plans are now doing. Because remember what's happening. They're getting $1,000 a month every month from Medicare. Doesn't matter if it's Clover, Braven, United Healthcare, they're all getting the same $1,000. So they want to make a profit. Medicare wants them to make a profit. So they make a profit by paying out less than the $1,000. And if they can incentivize you to walk 10,000 steps or do all of those other things, they're going to make more money. That's how all that works. So you're going to get more money, Roberta. Don't think of it. Now, if that is an issue, maybe we look at Braven, because Braven is starting out with more money, and you probably won't have to jump through quite so many hoops with Braven.
So should I call you or talk to you? or-
You get email? Oh,
Yes, yes, yes.
we have a Braven book. You can take the Braven book home today.
Or you have.
And I have to read it?
Yeah.
You don't have to read it. I'll tell you what the differences are. And if you want to try Braven, and here's the thing, let's talk about enrollment time periods.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got, oh, anybody have any questions about the donut hole or the 4 phases of coverage?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about when you can make changes and things like that. So when you turn 65, you are in your initial enrollment period.
Right.
And you have 3 months before that month, and you have 3 months after that month to enroll in Medicare A and B. So that's your initial enrollment period. Then every year, October 15 comes along, October 15 through December 7, and the plan change takes effect on January 1st. So you have 7 weeks every year to make a change. Now let's put the types of coverage up here again. And I don't have to label them, right? Because everybody knows this is the Advantage plan, this is the standalone drug plan, Medicare, and then your supplement. So during AEP, you can change, drop, or add your drug plan, change, drop, or add an Advantage plan. So if you're 70 years old, you've never had any coverage, you've never had a supplement, you've never had this, you've never had that, you can enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that will take effect January 1st. And it's guaranteed, right? Medicare Advantage plans are never going to require you to prove that you're healthy. Anybody can get into a Medicare Advantage plan, but you have to wait for the annual enrollment period. Okay, so
Unless you've moved.
we didn't get there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so annual enrollment period, 7 weeks. All right, so we've covered the IEP, AEP. Now let's talk about OEP. So let's put it here. Open enrollment goes from January 1 through March 31, and the plan change takes effect first day of the next month. So what happened was, and really came about because of the HMOs that were out there. So if it was AEP and you came to me and said, hey, Jake, I want to enroll in a plan, or I want to change my plan, and all we had were HMOs, we would have to make sure your doctors participated, right? So we found a plan your doctor participates in, and then on January 2nd, you go to make an appointment with that doctor. Oh, Mrs. Jones, sorry, the doctor died yesterday. The doctor moved away yesterday. The doctor retired yesterday. Now you're out of luck because you're stuck in a plan all year
It doesn't.
and you don't have a doctor that you want to use. So Medicare came up with this new opportunity to drop your Advantage plan or change it during these 3 months. Notice I didn't say add. You can't add it. If you want to add a plan or enroll in a plan, you have to do it during your IEP or during the annual enrollment period. You can't just add a plan in January. You can change it or drop it and go back to original Medicare, but you can't add one. Okay, unless, like Roberta said, you qualify for a special enrollment period. So you're no longer in your IEP. We're not in AEP. We're not in OEP. And you want to enroll in a plan. If you moved and you're now in a new county and you've got new options available to you, you qualify for a special enrollment period. Or remember, we talked about PAD before?
Right.
When you have PAD, having PAD qualifies you for a special enrollment period. You can change, add, or drop a plan anytime you want, all year long, and it takes effect the first day of the following month. So people will often call me on December 8th. Hey, Jake, I want to enroll in an Advantage plan. All my friends have been talking about it. And I say, well, you don't have a plan now? No. I said, well, I'm sorry, you can't enroll in a plan. You missed your opportunity. But then I asked them, do you have New Jersey PAD? And there's another, anybody here of Senior Gold?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
All right, so Senior Gold is the next level up from PAD. If you don't qualify for PAD due to your income, you may qualify for Senior Gold. It's about 10,000 more in eligibility. So when you have senior gold, that gives you a special enrollment period.
I don't know who that is.
Now, there's some differences. A senior gold doesn't give you drugs for $5 or $7 the way PAD does. And senior gold doesn't pay the premium on your drug
Right.
plan like it does for you, but it does give you a special enrollment period. So I will say to whoever calls me on December 8th or any other time of the year, do you have New Jersey PAD? Sometimes they say yes. And I say, great, you're in luck. I can enroll you in that plan for the first day of the next month. If they don't have PAD, I ask if they think they might qualify. You know, is your income below that 38,000? The state doesn't authorize us the way Medicare does. The state doesn't work with brokers the way Medicare does. But we keep the apps with us. We have PAD apps here. So if you think you might benefit from it, or friends, family, neighbors, relatives, take a paper PAD app, or you can go online and apply online. And we'll help you do that. Okay. All right. So we covered PAD, we covered senior gold, good RX. Just one thing I want to mention about the drug coverage, and then we'll let you guys go. So it's very important that you pay
You don't
attention.
want to go.
It's very important that you pay attention to the milligrams your doctor is prescribing. And I'll show you why. So I had a woman 5 or 6 years ago. I was analyzing her drugs. She was turning 65. She was on a tier 1, a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 1. And Humana had the lowest total cost for the premium and all of her medications. These were all going to be zero through the Humana mail order, just like you were paying. You didn't pay anything. At the time, and it may still be now, I don't remember, tier 1 and tier 2s, which are generics, right? Preferred generics, non-preferred generics. They are all zero, or at the time, these meds were all zero with Humana. Humana had the lowest premium at the time. The meds were going to cost nothing. Back then, the deductible on all of these plans was $350. Medicare increases this number. And so now we're up to $505 on the deductible. Back then it was $350. So all 4 meds were going to cost her nothing. The 5th med was a tier 3. So I knew that that was going to trigger the $350 deductible. And I had to call Humana because a lot of plans, it's a copay, like your Eliquis is 37 or 38 on Clover. A copay is an actual dollar amount, right? But if your cost is a percentage, we call that coinsurance. Okay, it's as simple as that. I get all kinds of convoluted answers to that question. What's the difference between a copay and coinsurance? It's simple. If it's an actual dollar amount, it's a copay. If it's a percentage, it's coinsurance. Okay, so Humana at the time, and it may still be, tier 3s were a coinsurance. So I couldn't tell her how much that was going to cost. I had to call Humana. And Humana said, okay, well, you know, it's going to trigger her deductible. And I said, yeah, I know that. And after that, it's going to cost her another $400 over the course of the year for that one medication. So $750 she was going to pay for this tier 3 med. So I asked them, I said, is there any other drugs in the formulary that will do what this one does? And this was a 10 milligram drug, 10 milligrams. She said, no, I'm sorry, that's the only drug that we have. She said, but she can get it in a 5 milligram 60 count, and it's a tier 2.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
So I said, wait a minute. If she pops 2 pills a day at 5 milligrams instead of 1 pill a day at 10,
Oh, wow.
it's going to save her a $350 deductible, $400. It's going to save her $750
Oh,
a year
my God.
just by popping 2 pills instead of 1.
Oh, my goodness.
So how many people are doing that unnecessarily? 1 drug, 2 drugs,
Right.
their spouse is doing the same. People are wasting all kinds of money on their drugs. They're not using good RX when they can, or they're getting that ezetimibe, like I said before, that's triggering the $505 deductible. We've got to be proactive with this stuff. This is what we do in our office, because there's no way you guys can keep up on all this. All you have to do is call us. If you get down to the pharmacist and they say, oh, you've got this big deductible to pay, we want to avoid that. So you're going to call us. You're going to say, here's the name of the med. Here's the deal. So we have a team of women. All they do is fix problems. So if the drug coverage is an issue, if you need reimbursement for that $1,000 that you get for your dental, and you may have to pay up front because it's out of network and then get reimbursed for it, they work on that. I got a thank you card in the mail today Oh, I took a picture because we're going to use it in an ad. I'm going to read this to you. Okay, so this was from a recent client that I had my girls work on. She said, Jake and staff, thank you for all your help solving with your problems. Oh, I gotta get my glasses on. Thank you for all your help resolving the problems that we spoke about with my hospital bills. I'm so glad I have someone to help me, Marge. And so I called her to ask her if we could use this little thank you quote in our co-star ad, the Ocean Star. And she said, oh, yes, absolutely. And I said, so the girls really helped you out with that. It was a $7,000 hospital bill
Oh, my.
that she was unable to pay it, but she was going to start making payments on it. She got a letter in the mail yesterday saying the bill is done. You don't have to pay that.
Wow.
Zero balance. And she mailed it yesterday, and all that weather, that rain and everything, I still got it delivered today.
Wow.
All right, so make sure you're looking at the milligrams. Don't let your doctor just write out a script and then you get down to the pharmacy and find out that it's triggering your deductible. It's a tier 3 or tier 4. It's a higher copay. So we have to watch the milligrams. Pharmacies, every pharmacy, every drug plan now has a preferred, all but Blue Cross Blue Shield, I think, preferred network of pharmacies and standard network. Now, Clover is 0 on the tier 1s at a preferred, but I think they're $10 at a standard pharmacy. So you can still go to the pharmacies over here, but you're going to pay more. Okay, so watch those milligrams. Watch which pharmacy you're using. A lot of people like to use the small mom and pop local pharmacy, and they can end up paying a lot more there.
Yes.
I like when they use those pharmacies because we have one in Neptune that I refer a lot of my clients to, even though they're a standard pharmacy. The pharmacist in there, Luke's got a couple near us in Wall. Their daughter is the pharmacist in Colfax Plaza Pharmacy in Belmar, and she sends a lot of her what would they be called? Patients or customers, I guess. So she sends them there, but a good pharmacist is worth their weight in gold.
Right.
Many of you may have experienced that already. So I like to stay away from the big ones if we can, but the copays are often much lower at the big ones. But sometimes those small pharmacies will match the savings that they're getting at the big pharmacy. So it's worth it to check. But we've got a small pharmacy in Point Pleasant, another one in Neptune, another one in Belmar. If you've got one nearby, it's good to get a relationship with the pharmacist. Go in there frequently, let them see you. They will often
There is one right
go the
down
extra
other
mile to
Church
help you
Street.
with pad issues. I had a woman in Neptune, her insulin, the state of New Jersey doesn't have a contract with Novolog, which is the manufacturer, or with Novo Nordisk, which is the manufacturer of Novolog, etc. So she's on pad, but she couldn't get the low pad copay because Clover, the doctor prescribed the Novo Nordisk. It's covered by Clover, but it's not on the pad list from the state of New Jersey. So she couldn't get the lower insulin cost. And so her pharmacist went out of her way to write some stuff to the doctor to say, look, doc, you've got to get her on Humalog instead of Novolog. It'll work the same for her. Humalog is covered by pad. And you go to CVS, that's not going to happen. But this small town pharmacy did that, and she got a $7 copay for that insulin.
Wow.
That explains my neighbor's problem. I didn't know she was on pad, but she was on, I knew she had some sort of Medicare. She said, my insulin, $35 a month. And she had whatever she told me as a pharmaceutical part. She said, I keep telling my doctor, I can't afford. So I think they got it worked out, but my thought was, well, you switch to another one, it just doesn't make sense.
No, but if she gets pad,
Yeah, she could be.
then
Yeah,
she shouldn't pay any more than 7.
right. Right. So maybe that's what happened. Shouldn't the doctor know what is covered?
No. No, doctors can't stay up on all of this stuff. They don't know what drug plan you're on. They don't know what tier within your plan the specific drug is that they're about to prescribe to you. And I had a woman on eye drops. She was getting surgery in a couple days.
Yeah.
The doctor wrote out a script for eye drops. She gets down to the pharmacy, $950 copay.
Oh, for God's sake, I would call the doctor.
Well, no,
immediately.
she called me, which was the right thing to do. She said, Jake, what's going on here? I said, did you take your formulary into the doctor's visit? She said, no, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Mine's in
So
my-
I called the carrier, got a list of 5 other drops that were covered by the plan, called the doctor's office, told them to call in one of these 5, and she walked out of there with a $20 copay.
Wow.
You know what, Jake, I think, I can't remember, but it was more than $35. It was an I don't want to even guess. Maybe it was $350, but it was an astronomical amount of money that she had to pay for this, and it just made no sense. to
Because
me.
it was insulin.
Yeah,
So she didn't have a Part D most likely, because on Clover, those tier 3 insulins are only $37, $38.
well, maybe that was it. But she's like, I can't afford this every month.
So give her our card and suggest that she call us. So we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
So, and that gets us to the last thing we're going to talk about. There's never any fee for our services. Never a fee for what we do. So we'll help you all day long, whether we enroll you in something or not. We're here to answer questions. We're here to point you in the right
You're
direction.
not enrolling anybody now if they want to.
We can, if you want to meet afterwards, we can certainly talk to each of you one-on-one or set a time and do it over the phone or whatever. But my point is that you never pay for us. So if there's a good chance you're going to make a mistake without us, and Medicare does studies, 87% of people that try to do this on their own
Make a mistake.
choose the wrong drug plan, the wrong Advantage plan, et cetera. So if we're available for free, there's no reason to not. use it.
Right.
Just to reiterate, the PPOs, that plan, you have to have in-network research in that. Make sure your doctors are in the network.
No. you
To
don't.
pay the least amount of money, you're going to want to use in-network doctors, but you're not limited to in-network doctors. Any doctor across the country that accepts Medicare.
Okay. Two, they discuss insurance companies, but you would lean towards the Advantage plans.
So if we're talking about whether you're going to be in the first option with your Medicare card, your supplement, and your drug plan, or the second option up here or down here, I don't have a preference one or the other. It's just what's best for you. It's like asking me what's better, a bus or a cab. So if you're taking the Boy Scouts, to the woods, you want a bus.
I have Medicare A and B traditional, original, and I got the AARP United Healthcare as my supplement.
F or G or N?
This G.
Okay.
A year ago or so, my husband had open heart surgery over in Philly. It was all said and done. It was $130,000.
But you didn't pay anything.
Huh?
You didn't pay anything.
No.
No.
No, I didn't pay anything. And that's why I'm hesitant to change, because
So,
we have his cardiologist.
so let's talk about that, because I had the same surgery. I had a $350,000 open heart triple bypass.
Oh, God.
So let's
Wow.
talk about what that would have cost under your supplement, whether it's F or G or N. And that would have been $0. Because your only cost in the hospital under original Medicare is the $1,600 deductible. Doesn't matter how many days you're in or what's going on in there, how many surgeries, how many surgeons, doesn't matter. You're only on the hook for $1,600. Your plan F pays that 100%. Your plan G pays that. If you guys still have the book there, you'll see all those plans pay the Part A deductible 100%. So my 13-day stay in Jersey Shore Medical Center, I wouldn't have paid a dime, just like you didn't pay a dime. But what's the premium on that plan?
Well, of course, Medicare comes out of my social security. I'm not sure. what that
Right, so
is.
your AARP supplement
What I
F,
pay for AARP would be $170 a piece. So we pay like $340 a month for the two of us.
all right, so 170 piece, let's say that's $2,000 a year.
About that.
And then you have your drug plan premium, your Humana is how much?
It's like $11 a month.
All right, so maybe,
And I don't pay for any, my husband gets everything through the mail,
let's just say 220.
and I don't pay any bills.
Okay, so you're paying $2,120 a year, and you said it was Plan F supplement, right? Or Plan G?
Gee,
Okay, so you've got to add the Part B deductible on top of that. So let's say it's $2,400 a year. And everything in the hospital is 100% coverage, right? It's only outside the hospital where you have this $226 once per year Part B deductible. After that, you don't pay a dime. Okay. Now, I was in the hospital for 13 days. And if I had Clover, which is what Roberta has, Clover's hospital copay is $390 for the first 4 days. So $390 times 4 is $1,560, right? So that hospital stay would have cost me $1,560. So you're paying $2,400 year in, year out, whether you're sick or healthy. Even on your healthy years, you're paying $2,400. Down here on my healthy years or on Roberta's healthy years, you're paying nothing. But if you have a hospital stay, then you're gonna come out of pocket for that. Keep in mind, these Advantage plans will limit. Let's say I did another open heart surgery 2 months later. I had another $1,500, another 13 days in the hospital. You can only pay the 4, right? No matter how long it is. So I had another $1,500 in the hospital. And then let's say I had a few surgeries after that, $325 a surgery, $325 a surgery, and then a few MRIs, $175, et cetera. All of this can add up. Medicare limits what it can add up to. The number that Medicare sets is $8,300 for January next year. That is the maximum that all of these copays can ever add up to. Then you don't have to pay a dime after that. But some carriers charge a lower amount, or not charge, but lower your out-of-pocket total so that you don't have to pay the $8,300. Clover's is $7,550 this year and next year. Braven is $6,700. And I think next year it's the same, or $6,900. So all of these copays together can only add up to the protection that your plan has in place for you. You're going to hit these numbers anyway. Every 3 or 4 years, you're hitting these numbers because you're paying that whether you have a good year or a bad year. So I can't say what's best. I can say what's best for me. For me, I'm choosing the second option. I don't want to pay the Medicare premium, which I'm not going to be able to get away from, but I don't want to pay a supplement premium on top of the Medicare
Well, I
premium.
got this,
And then a drug plan premium on top of that.
I just got this in the mail from WellCare. It's the Advantage plan. I just got this.
Yeah, I would throw that one away.
I didn't call. And it covers like everything.
They call me constantly.
And too, like dental, vision, and hearing. You said that New Jersey isn't going to have dental anymore.
No, I never said.
Something about dental insurance in New Jersey. This just comes in there, I trash it.
Right, so remember, so let's put the little diagram back up here. And remember, you've got your diagram to take home too. So you've got your Medicare card. If you're in the first scenario, you've got your Medicare card, your supplement, and then your standalone drug card. You've got 3 cards in your wallet. Or you're with the all-inclusive type of plan that has to cover all of your Medicare benefits, all your Part A benefits, all your Part B benefits, all your drug plan benefits. But remember, I said they can also throw in a bunch of ancillary benefits like dental, vision, hearing aid, over-the-counter card. Some plans offer transportation. Some plans offer that Part B give back where they're crediting your Social Security. Okay. Some plans offer meals after surgeries. So all of these ancillary benefits are at the discretion of whatever plan is available in your county. So there's nothing in the state that's limiting dental.
Okay.
It's just whether or not a particular plan is offering dental.
It's the plan.
A plan may be eliminating dental in their plan next year, but most of these carriers are enhancing their dental benefit, not the other way around. By the way, Cigna, I thought it was a misprint when I read it. You know, you have 1,000 with Clover, you have 1,000 with Braven. Aetna's new PPO is giving you the option to buy 2,000 in dental benefit with a $30 premium. Cigna has 20,000 in dental benefit, which I thought was just absolutely crazy. But I looked at the PDF, there's 8 pages. So the way it works is you get the cleanings, the x-rays, the office visits for no copays. But then there's a whole list of root canals and crowns and bite wings and this and all kinds of stuff. And there's a copay associated with each one.
Mhm.
And it's a big discount over what you would pay if you didn't have the plan. So keep that in mind. If you know someone that needs massive amounts of dental, the Cigna plan may be the way to go. And keep in mind, remember all those different enrollment periods? And we mentioned this to a woman the other day. She's turning 65 in November. She does need dental. So her Advantage plan is going to start. Get some room. Her Advantage plan is going to start on November 1st. And she's considering, this is November, she's considering enrolling in Braven, use the $1,000 in dental. And then in January, remember we have the open enrollment, switch to another carrier. She was possibly going to switch to Aetna for January to get the $2,000 in dental that she can get from them. And no, I'm sorry, she was going to use AEP for that because here we are in October 15th through December 7th. She's going to get Braven to start in November because that's her birth month. Then before December 7th, using AEP, she can switch to Aetna, which would take effect January 1st. She'll pick up the $2,000 from Aetna, and then using the OEP in January or February or March, switch back to Braven or to maybe even Clover and get another $1,000 in benefit there for the rest of the year. So she can have $4,000 in benefit with 3 different companies. And there's nothing that would prevent her from doing that. She would not get in trouble from anybody for doing that. She's perfectly within her rights to do all of that, to maximize all of the benefits and opportunities that are available. $4,000 in dental.
Is the Cigna a Advantage plan? Or
Yes.
Oh, it's an Advantage.
Cigna is down here with the Advantage.
Okay.
Now, Cigna does have a supplement. And that's what makes this also confusing because most of these carriers that have the Advantage plans also have the supplement. So if this is your Medicare and your supplements up here and your drug plans here, most of the carriers that are in this arena also have a Medicare supplement. So I had a woman turning 65. She goes to her doctor. The doctor says, "Oh, Joan, I see you're turning 65 next month. Have you decided what you're going to do with your Medicare?" She says, "Oh yeah, we have a guy that comes into our building and he's putting me into a supplement." And the doctor says, "Great, just make sure it's not Aetna. We don't take Aetna."
My doctor said that.
Now, is there any reason why a doctor wouldn't take an Aetna supplement?
Yeah, they're poorly managed according to my doctor.
All right.
Poorly
There's no
managed.
reason why your doctor would not take an Aetna supplement. Remember what the supplement is doing. It's standing in for you to write that big check to the hospital for $1,600, the deductible, so that you don't have to write that check, right? And what about the 20% that the doctor would charge you? The supplement is going to pay that 20% for you. So if every supplement is paying the same $1,600 to the hospital and the same 20% to the doctor, why would a doctor say, "Don't take Aetna, we don't accept Aetna"? He's wrong, right?
Yeah.
The doctor is absolutely wrong. Aetna is going to send him the same 20% that he would have gotten out of your pocket or from Mutual of Omaha or Cigna or United. It's the same amount of money.
But what he told me is I was on Aetna while I was working because that's what my employer provided. And he said, I have to employ a person almost full-time to deal with Aetna because they are so poorly managed.
Yeah, that was
we
an
can't.
employer-sponsored plan, a group plan, or what was that?
That was employers.
Yeah, keep in mind, all of these carriers, you've got individual plans, right? For
Mhm.
someone who's not working or their group, their company doesn't provide insurance, so they have their own individual plan. Or you've got someone who is on a group plan and it can come from Aetna, or you've got somebody that's on a Medicare Advantage plan from Aetna, or somebody is on a supplement from Aetna. So they're really 4 different companies. And everyone's had great experiences with all 4 of them, and someone's had
people have-
horrible experiences with all 4 of them.
Or
And
one
it's
of
the
the other.
same, you can take out the word Aetna and put every other insurance company name in there,
Oh, I
and
don't-
everyone swears by them, and everyone
Everybody
hates them.
swears at them.
So what we do in our office, we kind of keep track of all of that stuff. So I know what carriers to stay away from. If someone says, hey, I want a Medicare supplement, well, we know they're all exactly the same when it comes to the benefits, but they're
Exactly.
all different when it comes to the premiums.
Mm.
So that's why we know you're vastly overpaying on your Plan G supplement, because nobody
Definitely.
should be paying anywhere near that much. But we also know, is there a difference in customer service?
Mm.
Is there a difference in ease of enrollment? So we take all of that into consideration when we're enrolling somebody, so that your comfort zone is as good as it can possibly be. And that's why now we have a team of women, their only job is to solve problems. The last thing you want to do is spend an afternoon on hold with an insurance
Oh, God. it's awful.
Yeah, you don't want to do it,
Been
especially,
there, done that.
especially
Don't want
WellCare.
to do it again.
All the calls go overseas.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Clover,
And
the
if
calls
they
go
don't speak
overseas.
English, and I can't accept anybody that's got a different, a language that
Accent you can't
The
understand.
accents.
And you hear from everybody.
And usually it's the Philippines.
Yeah, they go overseas a lot. All right. Any more questions on anybody or on anything we covered, or, we'll let you go. Luke and I are going to stick around for a little bit. You can put your name and your number on our sheet. Or if someone has some specific questions right now about specific plans, we can go over that.
I have a
It's up to you.
separate, that, I think it's, Delta Dental.
Mine now?
I
Okay.
pay separate, it pays really for, $10,000 for a full, teeth. If one goes, the whole thing has to come out,
Okay.
$10,000 for that. And I had them take it out of my social security, I had them take it out of my checking account
Right.
to cover that. I'm afraid, and I think it's loose now. If, like I said, if I lose one tooth, the whole thing has to come out
Hesitation.
because it's
I
one.
know it's a solicitor.
So I'm anticipating if I have to have it pulled, that's like $2,000 just for one tooth. I went through a lot of money with the ones I
So how
did.
much did Delta pay on the bill?
Evidently, it wasn't enough. Because after all was said and done, it was, that was $10,000. I had that teeth pulled. It was
But how much did you pay?
10,000. And it's
Holy
100,
mackerel, Andy.
huh?
Holy mackerel,
It's
Andy.
a cheap policy, so,
Yes.
yeah. My cousin suggested that at the time, I was moving. And I have to go to, East Brunswick. Or for cleanings.
Yeah, I forbid my clients from listening to their cousins. Cousins, neighbors, friends, family, even enemies. Don't listen to anybody. Because they're gonna lead you down the wrong path. Everyone's got an opinion on it.
But I
Rarely-
should have known,
rarely-
$109 a year for the policy. How much could they have?
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of $40,000 with the dental work. 40,000. So I rarely do I recommend somebody buy an insurance, a dental insurance plan, because it doesn't make sense for them. Because usually you have one thing. It's just one thing, and when you get it fixed, it's done. Okay, so why keep paying premium month after month after month for something? For me, it's different. I'm gonna be in this dentist's office for the next 4 years. So I'm able to get the higher benefit amounts that you get in the second year and in the third year and in the fourth year, the higher percentage that they pay. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for most people. So I don't know if I would recommend you even staying with Delta. But if you
No,
have
I'm
an,
not, but I'm saying is.
but if you have an Advantage plan, and you
Susan,
get
are you there?
1,000 in dental, or you get 2,000 in dental, or if you're with Cigna and you get 20,000 with dental, that may be a better option for you.
Right, because I can see down the road. It's like $1,000 if they do what is it, a root canal.
Well, you can look at it this way. You can save a big chunk of money on your Medicare supplement and then put some of that savings into a dental plan that will actually help you and pay a big percentage of what you have coming.
Susan, are you there?
Yes, I hear you. What do you want, dear?
Could you just call me and I'll talk to you?
I'll call you we're almost finished and then I'll call you.
Well, no, I was gonna ask you to get me all the papers and charts and things that he was talking about.
Okay, I can't I can't really hear you. There's too much background noise. Hold
I
on.
said, could you get me the paperwork that he was sharing with everybody?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll leave it.
Really important. Thank you.
He's going to leave several copies and I've got his business card as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All righty,
I think we're good.
we're good.
Hey, there's the grandson. How you doing, man?
He just woke up.
He's gone again.
If you want to get us down here again when more people want to show up,
I get paid by-
don't hesitate. We'll come
We were
down.
supposed to have 13 people. I don't
Yeah,
know what
that's all right.
happened.
They
We
ran
can
off
come back.
and they ran off and joined the circus. You know how it is
We can come back.
with us Episcopalians. Okay, okay. Wave goodbye to the padre.
Bye.
They're taking their afternoon nap.
Oh,
Wanna take home the roast beef?
no.
Should I throw it
How
out?
is Priscilla doing?
I would. Say again?
How is Priscilla doing?
She's still in the hospital. Okay, we finished the program. You can certainly go back and look at it on YouTube. And I'll make sure that I have a set of paper for you on Sunday morning.
Thank you so much.
He's babysitting his I call it grandparenting. He calls it babysitting. I don't know.
It's great.
I don't have any of those, so I'll never
I don't know
know.
how we got here
I'm
yesterday. but-
sitting, Priscilla was supposed to be here today, and so I'm filling in for her.
Okay,
I'll see you.
Bye-bye.
bye now.
In a week and a half.
Yes, see you when you're back.
I'm back. I'm going. See you guys Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, adios.
Adios.